Cool, 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 cool. Okay. Here we go. Word. What is up? Let's see. Okay. Twitch, Kick, good. YouTube, good. Alright, cool. Cool. And live. Right on. Multi-stream number 4. What's up? Alright, writing a book. Mercenary. Okay, wait. Hi, I'm Gabriel Rathwig, author. And today, we're writing a book. A science fiction fantasy novel, specifically in the genre of LitRPG. Oh, too loud. There we go. Perfect. Which is literature role-playing games. The book we are writing is called, book I am writing, not we, I, is Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef, book number 3. The third book in a series I am writing for the publisher Athon Books. And yeah, so far, it's going good. We are 52,771 words in. The goal is 100,000 words till the end of the book. So we got a little over 47,000 words to go. Let's see, everything's still going good. Yep. Everything is going good, streaming fine. Connected, cool. Alright. So yeah, writing a book. Today's goal is 2,000 plus words. Actually, I'm going to try to do 23. I'm going to get it to 55,000. So the goal is 55,000 words. So a little under 2,400, a little over 2,300, however you want to look at it. Here, Grammarly. Let's do some quick suggestions. Alright, so actually, today's goal, 55, comma, 000 word total. Yeah, alright, cool. So, let's see. What else before we get started? It's come to my attention that I wasn't leaving the videos being recorded up for Twitch to people to watch later. So if you haven't watched, you don't know what's really going on. And also that Kick videos just delete after a certain amount of time and whatever. So the only really place to watch them from the beginning is YouTube under live videos, because I don't care enough to go back. It's not that I don't care enough. I'm not going to go back and create playlists and videos and set it up like that, because it seems like a lot of work. And I am not a streamer. I am a writer, an author who is streaming how to write a book. The entire process. I'm going to continue to do that while I write, because I feel like it's a good idea, and I feel like people want to know how to write books, and I feel like it's interesting. We'll see if it works and if it doesn't. I mean, it's not any weirder or crazier than posting on TikTok videos of yourselves walking into a room and sitting down and opening the computer and playing a video and smiling at the screen and writing a line that says like, "Do you ever wonder if you should write a book? I do." I'm making fun of a friend of mine who has a British accent, because he's British, and I hope he watches this one day and says, "Is he making fun of me?" Yes, I am totally making fun of you. I am mocking you, and I find it hilarious. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to do a quick recap, I guess. Every time I stream at the beginning of what happened last time. and then go from there. Yeah. Cool. Let's go. So, Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef, Book 3. Last time, the main character, Lou, was in between an argument concerning one of his companions, Direwolf Beast Girl, and one of the other guest defenders staying at the inn restaurant, vice commander of the Adventurers Guild, and they were fighting for some unknown reason. And Lou manipulated the situation to where they're now in a boxing match. And I believe the last thing that happened was the Beast Girl was beating the shit out of the other girl so far. That is what happened right after the group decided to go out, or they were about to talk about going out and annexing more territory to enlarge their compound. And if you're familiar with games like most RTSs or role-playing RTSs, real-time strategy, or expansion games like StarCraft, Warcraft, not WoW, but Warcraft, Red Alert, Crash of Kingdoms, Tower Defense, any of those, you gotta extend the range of your influence, sphere of influence, to gather more resources. That's what they're going to be doing, and with the intention of connecting with more of allied forces to fight off the monster incursion. Okay, from the monsters that broke off from the tower. And good to go. Okay, so that puts us up to date, and we'll do a little reading from the last couple of pages, paragraphs, and then get going. Urza's adventure. Also, the reason I'm doing this by streaming is accountability. When you work for yourself as a writer, the propensity to fuck around and not work is very, very high. So distractions abound when you work from home, especially when you have the access to the internet while you're writing. So having even one person watching you, or a couple people, or the idea that somebody might watch this later, holds the accountability there. It's a similar concept to writers and people who participate in Discord chats and do like writing sprints together to hold one another accountable, you know. Or if you watch Joe Rogan's Sober October, you have other people there to keep you accountable. Alright, here we go. Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef, Book 3. Continuing Chapter 18. Urza's Adventurers Guild companions called out their support for her, but Lou noticed a few paying lip service and could see they were reveling in their boss's beatdown. The Vice Guildmaster was rocked back and forth and side to side, almost in the exact opposite movement to Blanca Fang's attacks. Oh, I guess that's fine. It sounds better with the more words. It was as if they were in a twisted version of the tango. I love alliteration. 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 It was as if they were in a twisted type of tango. Instead of projecting sensuality and sexual tension, it focused on bruising and possible lingering brain and bodily damage. That fact alone would have previously made Lou hesitate to have the two-woman box period. That was if he hadn't known about the existence of magical healing. As it was, he was 100% sure that they'd both be fine after the boxing match. One way or the other, CTE wouldn't be an issue. Oof. Vice Guildmaster Urza grunted as Blanca Fang landed a perfectly placed punch and gut punch into her breadbasket. It was a clean hit, though since there was no junk below their belts, was the violation applicable? He didn't think so. So, did the violation apply between two females? He didn't think so, so Lou didn't interfere. It was a clean hit since there was no junk below their belts. Did the violation apply between two females? He didn't think so. He wasn't sure. But he didn't need to anyway, since it was above, since the hit was legal above the belt anyway, period. And, comma, Urza hadn't folded under the punch. I knew they were going to get rid of that. She held her guard and was able to wiggle away from out of the wild. She held her guard, and was able to wiggle out of the wild striking range of the unpredictable alpha direwolf. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Against the rain of blows, and during a brief respite, comma, was able she wiggled out of the wild striking range of the unpredictable alpha direwolf. Lou was about to go against his doing that neck thing again. Why am I doing that? Because it's over here, so I should put this here. So that way I won't leave my neck. Okay. Also, standing in tree, if you yoga, it's one leg and you put the other leg on your thigh. It's good for your core and balancing. Oh, there goes the microphone. I do it because I have a standing desk. If you sit all day, it's so bad for you, man. A lot of these other authors, man, they do it, and I just feel so bad for them because it's like neck pain, back pain, leg pain, butt pain, wrist pain, everything. And I believe you're more creative standing. The blood flow, you can move, walk around, pace. Make sure all the streaming's going good. Yep, good to go. Cool, cool, cool. And bum, bum, bum. Quick, hi Dio, thank you. Story's gonna be great. Comes out in a couple months. Oh, hey, this is cool. I'm super excited. So this series is gonna be narrated by this gentleman right here. No, wait. Ralph Lister. So, as you can see, he's the narrator for Shogun. If you've never seen Shogun, it's phenomenal book series, but a really phenomenal book series and a really phenomenal TV series, miniseries that was a remake of another really phenomenal TV series. It's just great. So, anyway, he's doing this series, so I can't even tell you how exciting that is. He does just great work, man. Steven Erikson, awesome author. T.E. Lawrence, he does this freak stuff. Just Robin Hobb, I mean, like famous authors, you know. It's so cool. It's so cool. Look, like, I mean, it's just so cool. It's so cool. Anyway, I can talk about that and not work, because any non-working, you know, way to not work. So let me get back to this. Okay. I don't know if I mentioned, but the goal is 500 words per half hour, 1,000 words an hour, 2,000 words or less, 2,000 words or more in less than 2 hours is the goal today. We're at 17 minutes. We're at about 100 words, so time to get cracking. At the end of the podcast, at the end of the stream, I will answer questions, say hello, and all that good stuff. Do the things. But if I don't do it during the thing because it interrupts the train of thought and stream of consciousness to when you're trying to create. So anyway, yeah, cool. Okay. Lou was about to go against his own recently voiced rules of the competition when he caught a glimpse of Urza's face. See, and I think, let me move this too. The tilting the neck thing, it's like a habit, a thought habit, you know, you're like, okay. And contrary to what he had been thinking, throwing in the towel before the woman was beat to death, if that happened, no amount of magical healing would help. He heard of resurrection spells or resurrection magic, but he'd also heard Lou had also heard that most of the raise dead attempts ended mostly in zombification or other equally bad to worse. Bad to worse what? Equally bad to worse results. He'd heard of resurrection magic, but Lou had also heard that most of the attempts to raise the dead ended in zombification or equally bad to worst results. Urza's face, though puffing up and red in the spaces that he could see, not covered by the headgear, showed not a beat down and beat down and not a distraught and beat down competitor, but a what? Think, son. But someone who was enjoying what was happening to her. Another masochist. Lou whispered under his breath, causing Ragnar to give him a curious side eye. But Lou, curious side eye, which he brushed away with a "I'll tell you later" gesture. KKK, cool. There had been many. That neck thing, man, why is it this way? So maybe if I go this way here, and I go this way here, that might be better. I don't want to turn my head. I think it's because my keyboard's off-centered, not centered right, and just the standing desk isn't right. I don't know. Okay, let's go. Let's get to 53, son. Come on. Collaborator in Lou's previous line of work that had been very similar to the Vice Guildmaster. Every single one of them had been absolute battle junkies and pretty close to outright crazy. All of them were... Okay, no, that's not true. "99% of them had also..." Nah, that's not true. It's probably about 80% of them had also been female. Whether there was correlation, where there was causation, Lou what didn't know, as he was no expert. He did know, however, where there was smoke, there was usually fire. Look at that. "53, woohoo, celebrate with a sip of coffee." Alright, if we can get to 54,000 by 11 o'clock, that'd be dope. We'll see how it goes. Probably not gonna get there. Vice Guildmaster Urza was just such a Lou could tell that Vice Guildmaster Urza was such a person. Her puffy red face was lit up in a almost psychotically, no, in a manic grin, showing her bloodied mouthpiece, which was a frightening image to look at alone, but when you added the eyes that were so wide and white because the pupils were so dilated, what? Dilated. Dirt. You write books? No, I'm a fucking retard. That the irises were just tiny, almost imperceptible specks in the center. Her visage became even more horrid to look at. horrid and horrid. Let's do even more barbaric and primal and barbaric. He had known that the women were stronger. He had known that the two women were stronger and more. That's not ready for that sentence yet, okay. Urza was grinning in a defensive crouch as Blanca Fang stalked forward with a triumphant leer across her face. The fight had been so one-sided. She was sure that the annoying human woman had broken. Lou watched in detached fascination as the events... Okay, that's not ready yet. Woman had broken. Then began the series of events that led to more than one overconfident fighter's brutal downfall. Their opponent were not quite as beaten as they seemed. Lou called it the Rocky effect. You like that? Yeah, I like it. The Vice Guildmaster waited patiently like a spider in her web. The moment that Blanca Fang let her guard came in range, the Alpha Direwolf made the rookie mistake of letting her the rookie boxer mistake of letting her guard down. This mistake was one that translated to all martial mediums. It took years and years of training to get to turn warriors and turn emotion-driven fighters into disciplined soldiers and warriors. So sports and other mediums. Why media? That's wrong. Other forms of martial competition. Urza was a trained soldier and leader of men and women, while Blanca Fang was the leader of the Direwolf tribe. Her warriors were not soldiers. And her warriors operated in a pack. They were not soldiers. Urza shot forward from her defensive crouch like a jack-in-a-box. Her movement more than twice as fast as she had been earlier. Blanca, the difference in speed was so massive that it took a moment for Blanca Fang's brain to comprehend this was the same person she had been fighting just a few seconds ago. That delay in function from the Alpha Direwolf's mind to her physical body gave the experienced Vice Guildmaster the exact opportunity she needed. The stunning redhead right fist led the attack and connected Where's a good spot? Where's a good spot? Into the breast center of Blanca Fang's breastbone. Okay, somewhere around here I'm gonna switch. Insert page break. Yeah, we'll about right here we'll switch chapters. 53,371. 39 minutes. Okay. Ooh. I'd like to get to 54. Let's go. Before I take a break. Not 5,400, 54,000. I like to get 54,000 before I take a 5-minute or 10-minute break. Okay. Attacking an opponent's breastbone in boxing is not a traditionally practiced move. It was one that was taught for self-defense in quite a lot of different martial arts. Period. It was one, however. The attack had the... See, there goes the neck again. If performed correctly and in the right situation, set the attacker up for many different, more effective strikes. Streaks. Urza's punch didn't hurt Blanca Fang, but did have the effect of knocking her back and, more importantly, off balance on her and put of knocking her back and putting her on her back feet, but it more importantly put her off balance. The Vice Guildmaster rose from her forward moving crouch into a rising uppercut that would with Blanca Fang's butt arching out behind her and her head moving forward in perfect range for Urza's next strike. Have made Ken or Ryu proud. The fact a small part of Lou expected the gorgeous woman to yell, what is it? Dragon Punch? Yes. as she struck. Oh, the uppercut connected perfectly with Blanca Fang's chin, rocking her back and up into the air like a cartoonish figure. Urza continuing her uppercut by punching and by rising punch by jumping as she rose, added to the flight of the alpha direwolf. Hi, Winston. I see ya. Say hi, Cat. Say hi, Cat. I see you. He is 20 plus. Hey, buddy, I need to go back to work, so. What would you like? You just want to lay on my chest? Yeah. Okay. Maybe I should take a break now. Halfway there. 10:42. Cat's on me. Oh no, I just closed the Twitch thing on accident. Shit. Nah, it's better. Okay. Hey, you wanna go outside for a minute, Cat? You just wanna sit here for a second. Alright. Let me take a 5-minute break. 5-minute break. Let me put on here's the pretty screen to look at while I take a 5-minute. I'll be back at like 10:50. 10:50. Be back in a minute. Back in a minute. Okey-doke. Hope that buys me like half hour. Okay. Okay, here we go. Back on it. I usually listen to like regular music because I like regular music, but copyright and stuff, and all these synth guys are pretty cool. They let you use their music so far, and I like the 80s vibe. I'm old man, so you know, cool shit. Okay, let's get started. Back again. 10:50. I think if I didn't take a break, I probably would have made that 44 at 11, but whatever. Let's go. Lou had known that the two women were stronger and more skilled than he was, but learning how much so was a little shocking and revealed his weakness to him once again. An earlier version of himself would have been insecure and possibly broken by that knowledge. But ever since his almost death, his death, then almost death, and rebirth, he was no longer afraid and riddled with self-doubt. Alright, buddy. I'm gonna go shut the door. You can't come in here anymore. Sorry. You're on your own, buddy. I really don't want to do that because he's an old man, and you know, he's 20, so he won't be around too much longer, but it can only take so much cat crawling up my leg with his claws, you know, and crying. And my wife, his mom's not here, so his owner, his first owner is whatever you want to call it's not here, so. Okay. They say it takes 23 minutes to focus on average for most people after you're interrupted, which is a real shitty thing because, like, if you think about it, let's say you sit down to work at 10 o'clock and you start working and then you get focused at 23 minutes in. Now it's 10:23, and then somebody comes in your office at 10:30 and then you're interrupted. Then they leave at 10:35, so you're taking 23 minutes to get focused again. Now it's 10:58. And then somebody comes in around 11:15. Then it's 11. See what I mean? So like, when I got back to the States, I used to live in Europe, my wife, every 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, twice an hour, once an hour, phone calls from people, family stopping by, wife, father, I mean, it was just like insane how people don't respect your working from home and then trying to focus. Ugh, it's insane. Anyway, I just rambled for a minute and now I gotta focus. 23 minutes, let's see. An earlier version of himself would have been insecure and possibly broken by that knowledge. But ever since his death, subsequent almost death, and rebirth, subsequent almost death and recent rebirth, He was no longer afraid. He was no longer that insecure boy, afraid and riddled with self-doubt. He was as confident about himself as he'd been during the peak of his adulthood in his past life, which had been around 40. Okay. Switch legs for tree. Wait a second. You can put it on your thigh, inner thigh, or you can put your foot on your calf. Either way, it just depends on how good your balance is, you know. It was the age that Lou had mentally, okay, wait. It wasn't Lou's peak physical age. That had been in his late 20s to early 30s. But it was his mental peak. There had been a point one day after a particularly horrendous and grisly mission where he'd been forced to torture the go-between for a child sex trafficking ring. Lou didn't enjoy torture, but when needs must, he never shied away from the dirty work. Something that day had been different, and his innate and subconscious need to prove himself to others clicked off like someone flicking a switch. Elent, yeah. Lou remembered the day like it was yesterday. The target had been pleading relentlessly for him to stop. So much so that his coworker had joined in and asked him to take it easy. That was when he had flicked the switch. Did this person he was working with, a man that Lou knew had such a sadistic nature that his nickname was the what's a good nickname? Let's think. Was the Flayer, his nickname was the okay. Was Mr. Skinsuit. No, that's too much. That's too much, because then he wouldn't care about torture. His nickname was the Organ Donor. The Organ Donor was behind the myth that every traveler, every tourist on vacation had heard of. But heard of through a friend, or the organ donor was behind the myth that every tourist on vacation had heard. Every tourist on vacation had heard of from a friend that swore that their friend knew someone that it had happened to. That experience was partying in a place like Cancun or Bangkok. Is it? Yeah. Haha! That's so fucking stupid. Oh god. I knew that. That's dumb as shit. Into the depths, the wee hours of the night, and then blacking out. When they woke up, they were freezing cold and semi-lucid, sitting in a bathtub filled with ice and a large scar across their lower abdomen. The urban myth varies somewhat, and the organ taken is said to be a kidney or liver or other less or other body part. But the cautionary tale is the cautionary lesson is the same. The organ donor, a man in his late 50s when Lou was in his man who was at least 20 years older than Lou's 53 actually did that to people. When the vile man got drunk, he liked to brag about it. About it. That man trying to counsel Lou on trying to stop Lou from torturing a pedophile, a scummy pedo enabler. Made him the angriest he'd ever made him the angriest he'd ever made him made Lou so angry he'd literally seen white. He couldn't believe that man thought he was enjoying himself. Lou didn't want to do it, but knew it had to be done. From that point onward, he tuned out the other man, made a mental note to never work with him again, and finished his job. The information he'd gathered led to the completion of their mission and the death of not only the child trafficking ring, but the organ donor as well a few months later. The man's face had been seen somehow. Somehow that Lou had absolutely no idea a picture of the man had been sent anonymously to the authorities. That Lou had nothing to do with, and he'd been arrested and murdered in jail, in prison. Another fact, another coincidence that he had no part in, though his bank account became a few $100,000 lighter at that same period of time. Would you look at that? 54,000 on the dot. Woo! 1,000 to go. Not bad, man. Oh. Hi, Creato J Junior Boost JS. I don't even know. Creator Boost HH. Okay, yeah. I don't know, man. Oh, how's YouTube? Alright, cool. Yo, just turned to sub. Thank you. The main character for Shogun. Yeah, man. Shogun's dope. Shogun's super dope. Okay, still got a viewer on Twitch. Okay. I took a break a few minutes ago, so just keep going. 1,000 words to go. Oof. Let me stretch for a second. Let's think. Okay. What happens next? So, told a quick anecdotal story. Make it short and sweet because people get bored easily. Now back to the fight, which just ended. The fight's gotta end. And then they're gonna have to start with the conquering. How about... I got it. I think I know what's gonna happen. Okay. Alright. Blanca Fang crashed into the hard cobblestones of the courtyard to the crowd, to the surrounding crowds. So, okay. She hit so hard that a resounding thump echoed echoed around the area, causing the surrounding crowd to groan. Crowd to shy away and groan in sympathy. I could leave the words spelled wrong, and grammarly fix it, but the more you do that, the worse your typing gets and the worse your vocabulary gets. So if you are a writer or a wannabe writer or attempting to be a writer, I highly recommend that you try to spell your words correctly just for your own benefit. It would be faster if I didn't, but it wouldn't be as good. And Lou was tempted to intervene as his friend and bonded was clearly dazed and was clearly more than a little dazed and confused. But he held himself back. The Vice Guildmaster surprised him again by not following up her attack, but instead reaching a gloved hand down to Blanca Fang. A few tense seconds went by before the Alpha Dire Wolf gained her presence of mind but eventually she reached out and took the proffered hand. Lou let out a breath that he hadn't. I won't do that again into the microphone. That's kind of rude. Realized he'd been holding, along with the spectators, along with the crowd. Was a fair fight. Master Urza said as she helped pull Blanca Fang to her feet. I didn't think you'd ever stop throwing punches at me. With a grin. Ha! Blanca Fang replied, grinning back. Back at the Erza. You beat me fair and square. But don't go ruining it by lying now. You were setting me up the whole time. I know a trap when I fall for one. Lou watched in confused fascination as the two warrior women praised one another back and forth like the best of friends. In complete a completely different attitude now, and one that Lou would have deemed impossible just 10 minutes earlier. He was about to comment when his HUD began screaming in his mind, began highlighting his message notification. It was the first time that had happened since he'd arrived and accessed his internal system on Sol. Ooh. Twitch is still good. Kick is still good. One second, let me post this Patreon post, which is okay. Got it done. Okay, let me close that. Good. Okay, cool. All right, that's good. All right, so less than 750 words to go. All right, let's make it a few more before another break. Ooh. He quickly accessed the message and then gasped. And then gasped. There you go. In a very in a way, a few of his old ex-Marine buddies would wait. He quickly accessed the message and swore in a way that would have made a few of his old ex-Marine buddies blush. Yeah, I think so. Warning. 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 Enemy. Let's just do regular. Let's not do caps. Warning. Actually, let's do caps here. Warning. 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 Enemy. Enemies detected approaching from all sectors. The place is soon to be under under imminent attack. Defensive settings are recommended. Imminent. Would you like to activate defensive settings? Yes. Period. No. Period. Question mark. Dirt dirt. Oh man. The thing is, once you hit 1600 words, mind is tired. 2000's a lot. Any more than that's a lot too. So like, when we hit 5500, 55,000, that'll be like 2250 or something. 22,250 words. So we'll just see how it goes. Let's keep going. Not too many left. 700, less than 700 to go. We mentally selected the yes option, and before he had even read the description, which he did now, which he began. As he began reading the description of the defensive settings, Are you reading this too? He called to his 3 bonded companions, all of whom sent him mental affirmatives, while the other defenders looked on in confusion. The place, defensive settings. Shutters are by activating this option, all defensive measures available at the proprietor's current strength level are enabled. The measures are as follows. Battle shutters are lowered, made of 2-inch iron oak, are lowered over all entry portals. The strength and effectiveness of the shutters scales with the proprietor's own ability. It's gonna get rid of personal. Magical reinforcement is available at higher strength. Proprietors and those they designate as defenders or resident or defenders of the place receive access to a updated internal radar showing the locations of enemies and allies. The range and ability, the range and effectiveness of the skill increases with the places with proprietor's strength and ability. Access to the internal communication system provided by the place to the proprietors is given to those designated by can be given to those designated by the proprietors and those they enable that authority. Choose to give the authority. What else? What else? What else? Let's think. What else? 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 Okay, halfway there. Let's go. Gift with the authority. I knew it was going to do that. All defenders of the place have designated all designated defenders of the place receive a 20% boost to all their abilities and regeneration, including health and mana regeneration. The speed and boost percentage increases with the proprietor's strength and ability. Okay. Less than 500 to go. Oh. I don't know. Can I do 15? Can I get to 500 words in 15 minutes? We're gonna try. Lou finished reading the message about the same time as his friends did. And when he blinked his eyes open, all of them blinking their eyes open at the same time. He shared a round of certain ready, what's the word? Serious nods with them and began relating the new information to all the defenders, which were designated as defenders, which were already designated then watched as the messages as the already designated defenders received and read their own messages. After a minute or so, they all opened their eyes and gave their surroundings a impressed look, as if seeing the building, the compound they were in, with new eyes. Normally, Lou would have given everyone time to discuss and get used to their new strengths and their new skills and powered up skills and abilities. but they didn't have time. Instead, he began barking out, or began calling out orders, both mentally and verbally. Break up into your pre-assigned teams and head pre-assigned teams and battle stations. Comma, actually. We have multiple incoming enemy attacking from all sides. Make sure to use your internal radar and communications to keep the rest of us informed of your status and reinforcements we will send reinforcements where needed most. Think. Lady Cecilia, Lady Monica. Is the infirmary a temporary infirmary set up and ready to go? Turning to the unusually quiet nobles. Something had transpired to change their usually haughty and somewhat frivolous demeanors into thoughtful and stoic. Demeanors into thoughtful and stoic. Lou thought it may have had to do with the fight they just witnessed between the two powerful warriors, but and resolved to ask them about it later. They both nodded and answered in the affirmative. With no teasing from from Lady Monica, or puppy like pouting from Lady Cecilia. Yes. We are ready to rock, as you like to say, Demon Rue. All the first aid items and magical healing resources available to us are prepared. Lady Cecilia. Alvin, Simon, my brother, Count Raphael, and our retainers, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, are assisting us until you need them to bolster. Need them for reinforcements. To them to join the reinforcement teams. Lou looked over at, my brother Count Raphael and our retainers, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, will assist us until you need them to join the reinforcement teams. Lady Monica informed him. All business. And with none of the innate sexual innuendo she usually grafted on to all her every single word she spoke. He admitted to himself that this more serious and professional version of the beautiful brunette was much more to his liking. Lou pushed the testosterone-fueled thoughts away as he looked over at Raphael and at the young count and retainers. Again, he was surprised. The four of them stared back, their eyes full of resolute and resolute. Even the fop count, serious demeanor, looked prepared for the incoming battle. Enemy incoming battle. Okay, let's go. Move out. Blue called. Blue nodded once to Raphael and then turned and addressed the room. Cheers resounded, and then the rush of booted and scaled feet then was replaced by the staccato of running boots and clawed feet. Not to be left behind, Lou rushed to his battle station, where those of his team were running ahead of him. He was the leader of a team that consisted of the Tanuki, Micah, and Miko? What the hell are their names? Mickey. Oof. Oh, so tired. Well, 54 more words and we hit hit the 5,000 word mark in 2 hours and 5 minutes. That's not bad, considering it's over 2,000 words, and 10 minutes of that plus was talk of shit and not working, so not bad. The Jurors Guild trainers and Vice a woman named, let's think. Hi, Dazwar56. Thanks for joining. What should we? A woman named Marigold, who was the cleric trainer, and the Beastman, the Bear Beast Man, who was the Barbarian trainer. Marigold's the what kind of trainer is she? Let's think. Defender? Knight Defender? Yeah. Paladin? How about Paladin? I don't think you need 4 the guild. Lou was in overall command of the team and had divided them up himself so as to create balanced parties that could attack, defend, heal, and perform the many roles needed in a fighting unit. The one, hey, 55,000, 2 hours, 9 minutes. Let's go. Lou wasn't one to lie to himself and knew that his biggest weakness was his physical strength. He just couldn't compare to Ragnar, like a Griffin's or a direwolf's innate power. He didn't even try to compare himself to one of the dragons. The elven dragon riders or even a elf's innate power. He would just crumble. His pride would just crumble to bits. It would crack in a few hundred places at the very least. Alright, so I think I'm gonna take a break. And I might be done. I think I'm done. That's 55,000. That's over 2,000 words for the day. I think that's enough. I'm kind of burnt out. Yeah, I think that's good. So let me do this. Save. Good. Let's get rid of that. Awesome. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope if you learned anything or whatever, you know. Cool. If you have any questions or anything, or want, I guess questions, you know, let me know, in the chat sometime. And yeah, I'm gonna take off because I'm tired and we hit that goal. So tomorrow, back again. I'm gonna try for 2,000 plus, so we'll try to go for 2,500 more words tomorrow. I may get back on tonight and do some more because the wife's got to work till midnight. She has like a special thing going on, so I might work again tonight, but I doubt it. Maybe I doubt it. Anyway, thanks so much. Take care. Deuces.